I'm not supposed to be emotional, but it's just I love watching people change. There's something that brings me a lot of joy and happiness in watching people's lives improve. Leadership, to me, is just helping those you're working with get to the next level.
You're listening to the Limitless Leadership Podcast, the podcast designed to help automotive repair shops learn how to lead, coach, train, and manage their team better by sharing proven techniques and thought-provoking interviews from industry leaders. Are you ready to transform your leadership skills by tapping into unrecognized potential to achieve limitless results? Let's get ready for liftoff. It's time to go from great to greater. Here's today's episode.
All right, leaders, whether you're running a shop, leading a team, or leveling up in your career, you know details matter. And if you're like me, that includes keeping your beard on point. That's why I trust the Bearded Brotherhood. Their beard oils, beard balms, and mustache waxes, among other, are made with all natural ingredients, no junk, no shortcuts, just top-tier quality that keeps my beard looking sharp and feeling great. And let's talk scents. Whether it's their best-selling Woodsman or my personal favorite, Lone Stranger, the Bearded Brotherhood keeps me smelling fresh and my beard stays soft all day. If you take your beard game seriously, this is the stuff that you need. And because you're part of the Limitless Leadership podcast family, I've got a deal for you. Just visit thebeardedbrotherhood.co/lead15 to grab your favorite products and get 15% off in the process. Because a great leader deserves a great beard. Now, back to today's episode. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Limitless Leadership podcast. I'm your host, Josh Parnell. Before we get started with today's episode, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, do all the things you need to on social media to help this channel reach people and build leaders. I talk about a channel, but this is a podcast that is on multiple platforms, multiple podcast platforms, as well as YouTube. So go to the YouTube channel at The Bearded Leader to subscribe and like and do all the things you need to help this podcast reach people and build leaders. And speaking of leaders, joined by yet again another fantastic leader in the automotive repair industry, a friend of mine. He's the CEO of Elite Worldwide. He is also the owner of Barney Brothers Off Road in Grand Junction, Colorado. Our guest today is Mr. Darrin Barney. Darrin, thanks for being here.
Josh, thanks for letting me be here. It's an honor. It really is.
So, well, I'm excited for you to... Oh, go ahead.
No, you're good, man. Go ahead.
Well, I was saying, I'm excited for you to be here, Darrin. You know, something that I really love and admire about this industry is I think you and I both recognize there is plenty of individuals who can use help, who can also provide help. And ultimately, even though we are both coaching companies in the same industry, you and I both share the feeling of this is collaboration and not competition. Sure. There is plenty to go around. It's an abundance mentality versus scarcity mentality. And even though there's plenty to go around, I have encouraged all of my clients to reach out to other coaching companies because there are things that I can provide that, let me say this, there's things that I can't provide that others can. And so sure. I know Elite Worldwide can offer an array of services through an incredible team of people that you have. So what I'm going to ask you to do is share with the audience who you are, what you do, how you do it. And we're going to get into some questions about Elite later on.
Okay. So my name is Darrin Barney. I own Elite Worldwide. We're a 33-year-old coaching company, been helping automotive shop owners live fuller and better lives for 33 years, and something that really passionate about and enjoy, once again, getting people out of the daily grind and into, dreaming of a better future and how to create that. So something we really love doing.
And you've been the owner now for a little over about 2.5 years or so, correct?
Yep, correct. Yep.
So talk to the audience about what that transition was like. Elite's been a great company for a long time, and I know you're in the company's in great hands with you and the team of people that are there. But talk to us about the transition and also what's next for Elite. What's the vision like for Elite?
Well, Bob Cooper came to me a few years ago and asked me if I was interested in buying the company from him, and it was a daunting task because Bob has always been somebody that I've always looked up to and kind of a leader in the industry for all these years, somebody that grew up listening to and admiring. And so it was some big shoes to fill, and I don't even claim to fill them because I don't. But I do have a good team that helps us to carry, our company into the next level and into the next, into the future. And so, you ask about the future of Elite, we're going to continue to grow and help more people. I want to help those shop owners that were like me that didn't know that there was an easier and a better way. That's the guys that I want to help because I've been there. I've been there when I can't make payroll. I've actually owned a shop for all these years, and I've been through the struggles and the hardships, and can actually say that I've been there, and I can help them through it because coaching helped me through it.
I like the fact that you talked about how Elite is focused on helping people lead and live richer and fuller lives. And ultimately, what that tells me is that the heart behind the company is not about the transaction. It's not about the KPI and the sale and the numbers that come along with it. We know that's important. We know that we need to make a profit in order to stay in business, and the numbers will come. But it starts with the people. It starts with serving people and coaching people through this servant leadership type of approach. Talk to the audience about what services you do have to offer within Elite and the approach that you take with your clients.
Of course. So we do coaching. We do one-on-one coaching where you meet with somebody that has owned a shop. I don't believe in giving people coaches to coach them with their automotive shop with somebody that's never been in the trenches before, because there's nothing like being able to say, yeah, I've been there. I've had a truck fall off the hoist, and this is what, these are some steps we can do to take care of that, and we have a really great team of coaches. We have an awesome director of coaching. We also do peer groups. So if you want to be around other high-level shop owners that are taking their business to a next level, we have a great peer group of shop owners that are really a tight family that love to take care of one another and help out. We also do sales training. So we do, if you want to take your advisor to the next level, we can help them with that, with their people skills and also their sales skills. So do a lot of that. And we do training across the nation. We do a lot of webinars. We do, just basically try to elevate the automotive industry and help people become better.
So for those who's listening to this podcast, I'm going to encourage you to again, log into YouTube and go check out @The Bearded Leader to watch this episode. And here's why: because when you just were talking about the services that you guys have to offer, Darrin, you had a smile on your face the entire time. But when you talked about sales training, I visibly saw your face light up. And I know, having listened to a couple of podcast episodes with you on it, as well as chatting with you prior to us going live, something that you really enjoy is being a part of the training. You're not going to find a lot of owners of coaching companies who are a part of training the way that you are. What is it about training and being a part of the training in the trenches with your team that really brings you joy?
I'm not supposed to be emotional, but it's just, I love watching people change. There's something that brings me a lot of joy and happiness in watching people's lives improve. And if we can do that through helping with them and connecting with them, that's what it's all about. Been doing it for years at the shop, and it's just something that really brings me a lot of joy, is really helping people get whatever it is that they're looking for next, whether they want to come in and get a lift kit on their vehicle and get it to go out and go four-wheeling with, or they want to go and take their shop to the next level, or they want to improve their personal life and get more freedom and more time back, or if they want to get better time management, whatever it is. Really enjoy helping people do that. That's where my heart's at. It's what gets me up early in the morning. That's what keeps me awake sometimes late at night, is figuring out how to make things better. I always joke with my team that we're always playing in the sandbox. And if we ever say we're good, I'm done, because I don't ever want to get to that point where we're good. I want to be the best. So you got to keep driving and be there. And when I say the best, I don't like to compare myself to anybody else, because we're who we are, but I want to make sure that I feel good, that we're providing value to whoever we're working with. And we are constantly pushing to make our training impactful and really make sure that we're making a difference. So, yeah.
One of the
answers the question.
No, I think it's a great answer. I'm gonna piggyback on that what you shared here in just a second. But something that you also shared that kind of prompts my own thinking is, one of the topics of conversation that I share with a lot of coaching clients is this idea of being content but not comfortable. And what I mean by this is, we can and hopefully should be content and happy with the progress that we're making, but we're not going to be comfortable. We're going to remain out of our comfort zone, because we know that growth and comfort can't coexist. So we're going to get comfortable being uncomfortable. But it's this concept of, I'm going to be content but not comfortable. And that's what I hear you sharing, is really like, you're proud of the progress you guys have made, but this concept of getting in your comfort zone, it's off the table for you guys, because
there is no
you're going to keep on growing.
Man.
Yeah.
I mean, I wish I could say I'm content, but I never am. And that's one of my flaws. My wife's always telling me that, it's like you need to just stop sometimes and not push so hard. But it's like, I only got so much time here upon the earth. I want to make the most of it. I don't want to ever be there in my dying bed going, man, why didn't I do that? I'd much rather say, yeah, I did that. And this is what I learned.
Well, let me ask you this, Darrin, because one thing that I want to make sure that I'm clear on is, like, when I say content, I don't mean satisfied, because what I hear you might be saying is I'm never satisfied, which is different. I'm saying, are you happy? Like, are you able to step back, smell the roses, and say, you know what? Yeah, there's a long way to go and a long way to grow, but there's also wins that we're experiencing on a regular basis. I'm stacking those wins, and I'm happy with those wins.
Yes. I wish that I was better at that. That's one of my big things I got to get better at. I practice an attitude of gratitude every day, being thankful for the ways the Lord has blessed me. But I've got to get better at that, because I'm constantly, it doesn't matter. Every day I wake up, it's like, okay, what am I attacking today? What am I getting done? What am I accomplishing? And it leads to burnout and all the other things that go on with doing that, So I'm getting better at it, but it's a work in progress to be grateful for where you are. So.
What does a successful day look like to you?
Oh my goodness. Well, I mean, I have different silos of my life. And so, I, first off, is my family. I always hold myself accountable every night when I go to bed, and I'm laying there and I'm, giving thanks to the Lord for everything. And I'm actually, think about how I was with my wife and my kids and, those around me that I love and care for, whether it's my team or whether it's, customers, whatever. But I asked myself how I did, and did I serve anybody? So I think that's really important for me. And then there's the business side. So, I mean, when you ask about a successful day, serving others, I think, is the most important thing. But then, did I move the needle? I mean, I'm constantly asking myself. In fact, I got a sticky note right here. It's like, how did I add value today? And it's like, I'm always trying to think of that. How can I over deliver is another one of my notes here. How can I over deliver? And it's like the successful day is feeling like I did those things. So.
You know what's interesting is, and I love that we're talking about this. I've often at times felt I need to deliver something just incredibly impactful on a coaching call. Like, it's not going to feel successful if I didn't deliver this groundbreaking, like, earth-shattering information that's going to prompt this individual to completely shift their paradigm and change their perspective. Because with perspective, the way that we view things drives the way that we do things. And what I've realized over time is, I'm working with a lot of these individuals either on a weekly or bi-weekly basis. And I keep reminding myself, hey, Josh, the best ability for a leader is availability. Right. And the fact that we're showing up, and because part of serving is simply showing up. It's being a listener versus a hearer, because there's a difference between listening and hearing. It's being able to ask the right questions and help this individual discover the answer through their own verbal processing. And there are times that I'll get off a call and I'll think, man, I barely said anything on that call. I asked a few questions. I did a lot of listening, but it was a lot of someone just kind of venting or opening up to me or sharing what's going on in their life. And I'm simply there. And at the end of the call, when I'm thinking, man, what did I bring to this individual today? They thank me for being on the call and for what this call meant to them. And it's a good reminder for me to realize it's not the here and the now all the time. It's often the end in mind, which is one of the 7 habits of highly effective people. And the end in mind is over the course of time in the grand scheme of things, I'm showing up, I'm serving through availability, and ultimately I'm making an impact that's greater than what I in the moment witness. Is that something you can relate to?
Yeah, of course. But it has to start with intentionality. What's your intent?
That's good.
Because I believe if you go into it just kind of trail guns blazing and just relying on your muscle memory, it only gets you so far. You really got to go in with your intent of what, even before I got on the podcast today, what was my intent for this conversation today? When I get on to a coaching call or I'm going into a team meeting or whatever it is, I always think, I take a minute to reset and actually think of what do I really want to give out for this? What am I wanting to achieve for this? Whatever I'm doing next. So that intent, I think, is huge.
Yeah. No, I hear you. It's quite possible that you and I approach our calls slightly differently. Prior to every coaching call that I jump on, I'll share a survey, a 2-question survey that every client fills out before the call. And the second question on that survey is, well, I'll say both of them. The first question is, did you complete last week's call to action? It's just a yes or no response. The second question is, what are the top 1 to 2 things we're going to be discussing on our next coaching call? because what I'm wanting to know really is what's keeping you up at night, what's top of mind. And it might not even be the negative or the challenging or the obstacles that you're facing. It could be the fact that, hey, Josh, I'm winning and life is good. And so my thought is, well, let's talk about that. Let's talk about what you're doing and how to keep on doing it to make sure that you're continue to keep on making progress. But what I do know is that there's enough fluid conversation that happens where it just kind of takes us to a place where I may have not initially intended to go, but because of where this individual is at, I'm trying my best to meet them where they're at. And we find up and I find myself in a place where I wasn't necessarily expecting.
Sure. Of course. Yeah, it makes sense.
So I want to go back to the question earlier about you being in the training room. So you're in the trenches with these folks, with your team, and I can just hear it in your voice. I can hear your heart, Darrin, when I say that it's very evident that you genuinely love and care about people. And it is one of, if not the most rewarding thing that I've ever experienced, which is being a part of people's growth and development. It's what I had the opportunity to do at Christian Brothers Automotive for almost a decade, and I myself struggled with not wanting to be in the training room. And what I mean by this is as our team was growing, we were filling our team with some incredible hires. Had the opportunity to lead this team and made some great hires. This is not my own doing. This is because I think God just found these incredible team members and threw them my way. But They were great. And what I realized was, man, I don't need to be in the training room. Like, these guys have got it. But I was struggling with removing myself from the room. Over time, I realized I'm stunting everyone's growth and development, including my own, if I don't remove myself. And I'm not suggesting that that's what you're doing, but I am curious. Do you see yourself being in the trainings as often as you are, let's say 2 years from now or 5 years from now, as your company and as your team grows?
I'm never going to give up on the training, because I constantly am training myself. You're joking about, talking about 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. I've got Good to Great. I've got The Four Obsession of an Extraordinary Executive. I've got stacks of books. I'm constantly doing online courses. And in fact, a lot of my team was always saying that. They're like, oh my goodness, when do you have time to sleep? But it's like, I only got so much time here, and I got so much information to absorb and move. And so, I think that constantly pushing yourself to be the best you can be and improving is hugely important, but I don't know if that answers that question. But it's like, I'm never going to give up on helping out. Now, my team, we've gone through the EOS process at Elite now, and that's what we're working through right now. And I have to, I've been counseled that I have to step back a little further and let my team of awesome people continue to grow and develop, because I constantly am involved with everything we do, whether it's our pro service group. I still know what's going on with our members, and I still have very much on hands. I know what's going on with our master students. I know what's going on with the coaching program. And I've been counseled now that I need to step back from that a little bit. And it's been difficult because I really enjoy knowing the individual wins. In fact, I'm getting text messages this morning from one of our colleagues in pro service and a Top Shop client, and just checking in, just seeing how I'm doing. And it's like, that one-on-one connection is going to be hard for me to let some of that go. And I know they say I don't have to, but they're also telling me that I have to really grow the company to where it needs to be and where I want to go with it. So I will step back from it, but I can't imagine me ever letting go of something I enjoy so much. Because it's really rewarding to watch people grow and change and coming up with new things to excite them to learn. So
you are preaching my language when it comes to delegation. And one of the topics of conversation that I share with a lot of coaching clients is this concept of delegation. And I have an interesting take. I mean, I'll call it interesting. You can be the judge of that. But to me, I actually say that as a leader, we are not in charge of anything, but we're responsible for everything, which means if I'm delegating accordingly, I'm delegating authority to every single one of my team members, whether it be through processes, procedures, or what have you. I'm no longer in charge of that thing, but I'm responsible for the result of it. And when I remind myself of that, it's easier for me to step back and actually let go. Because you said exactly that, I think, what a lot of folks struggle with, myself included, where it's challenging to just simply let go. You recognize the importance, you're even being counseled on the importance of it, yet we still struggle to let go. What advice, I know you're kind of going through this season of life right now, but I'll ask you, what advice could you give to someone who's struggling to let go?
Well, I don't think that, once again, I don't know if I'm the right guy to give this counsel, but I believe that you just shouldn't let go of the things you're really passionate about. And so as I delegate and let things go, I'm still going to be involved to a certain extent because it's what I'm passionate about. And so what we're working with at the EOS is letting go of the things where I'm not good and giving those to the rest of my team to be able to take those from me and let me go into my strengths,
Yeah,
So
that's good.
if you enjoy something and you're really good at it, I don't know if we should necessarily give it up because it's a passion of ours. It's what gets us out of bed. It's what our team feels, that fire and that energy. And if we let that go to somebody else, I don't know if that's necessarily the right thing. But once again, everybody's different. I mean, currently, I mean, holy cow, I am leading all of these different organizations. I'm a bishop at our church, and I have 300 and some members in my ward, and I have a whole leadership team there. I've got stuff at Barney Brothers. I've got a leadership team there. I got a leadership team in Elite. And it's like, not to mention the other businesses I've got. So it's like, I really believe that, you got to stick to your strengths, but you've also got to let your other team run with their strengths, and you find the best ways to let those things happen because the good Lord didn't bless me with patience or some of the other things where I'm really weak at, right? And that's where my team is so good at. Or somebody might be really good at like details. In my world, I'm not very good with some details on things. So I've got like Hannah, and I've got these really strong people that are so good with details. And they're there to make sure that I'm not missing those little pieces and those little steps, right? And so it's like part of that thing where I believe in delegation, but you also need to make sure that you're still doing what gets you fire, because without the fire, everything goes down. The leadership team can feel that.
Yeah, love that. I think that's very well said. And I think that if you're not fueling your fire, then we find ourselves pouring from an empty cup at times. And so it's good to make sure that we're regularly fueling that fire, getting that battery up again. So I'll ask you, Darrin, you talked about a number of different things. I mean, you're clearly a busy man, but you also have a lot of individuals who you have the pleasure of leading. What does leadership mean to you?
Leadership to me is just helping those you're working with get to the next level. And so honestly, is really humbled to be even, to be asked to come on your podcast here, because it's like, I mean, I don't like to consider myself to be a great leader. I just like to think that I'm really helping people on the journey and trying to help our customers. At the end of the day, that's what's most important, right? And so I'm trying to help my team get better, and I'm trying to grow and make sure that, we're doing what we need to do, but we're still taking care of those people that are relying on us. And so, I mean, leadership to me, I think, is once again, just helping people get to the next level, whatever their next level is, while I help and guide them to be where I think they can be too. It's one of my gifts, is seeing people's potential and helping them get to it. Because I can see things and encourage people in ways that they may not see themselves.
Love that.
So I love doing that, but
Darrin, I think
that makes sense.
It makes perfect sense. And I think that answer actually perfectly describes why you should have been on this podcast. You'll be on this podcast again, so this won't be your last time. But, something I believe is that we connect through three ways. We connect through authenticity, humility, and vulnerability. And that answer that you just shared is exactly why I know that you're an effective leader. You and I are still getting to know each other, but I know you're an effective leader because you possess the ability to show up authentically, to exercise humility, and to embrace vulnerability. We know that vulnerability is not a weakness. Vulnerability is a strength. And your team, you have a great team. And I think a lot of it is because you were able to connect with them and help grow and develop them along the way.
Yeah. Thank you. We do have a really good team. But I think that that's a huge thing to anybody that is a leader, is just being humble and admitting the fact that you don't know it all. And when you screw up, you just own it and just tell your team, I'm sorry, and do your best to not do it again and move forward. But I mean, nobody likes the guy that knows it all, because none of us know it all. I don't care how good you think you are. You're not that good, right?
That's so good.
So when it comes to leadership, I mean, obviously you can't follow a guy that doesn't know where he's going. But it's important that you be humble and work through it. I hope that makes sense. I didn't explain that well, but
no, I think it makes perfect sense. I like that you just talked about, you can't follow a guy who doesn't know where he's going to. I was on a coaching call this morning and talked about the concept of really knowing where you're at as well as knowing where you're going. It's interesting how many folks I work with who know where they're trying to go. Like, we have these goals in mind. We have these milestones or these mile markers that we want to hit. And it might be personally or professionally, it might be numerically.
Right.
But when we try to narrow down where they're currently at, it's actually more of a struggle than learning where they're trying to go. And so if we're trying to go somewhere, but we don't know where we're at, how can we close the gap? Right. And this is something that, and I'm sure Elite does a great job of this as well, being able to help individuals recognize where they're at, where they're trying to go, close the gap in between. And ultimately, I think this is what helps people zero in on and narrow down the specific things that they're not doing or could be doing better to help them go from here to here. Can you speak to the audience on the approach that Elite takes from a one-on-one coaching perspective? And do you guys pair one-on-one coaching beyond the training?
Oh, yeah, of course. I mean, we always start with knowing what the client's 3 biggest needs are. It doesn't matter if it's a master's student or if it's going to be peer group, whatever it is, or coaching. We always need to know what their 3 main areas of focus are. And then we will, when we hear that from the client, then we'll get together in our coaching leadership team, assignment team, and we talk about who's going to be the best coach for that position, for their needs. And then we assign that coach to them and make sure that they're good in those 3 areas. Now, most of the time what we find is that after they've been working with their coach for a couple months, they realize that their 3 main areas of focus are not what's most important to them because they didn't know what they didn't know. And so we always start with the 3 areas. And in fact, when we do our customer care calls and all the other stuff that we do and the coach notes, everything is designed around those 3 main areas of focus. But once again, we find that those change pretty drastically after, they get involved with their coach and they realize what they don't know. So same thing with advisors too. Our advisor needs help with these 3 main things. And so we'll put those things down in there on the notes so that all of us know what's going on. But we find that, we can get that addressed pretty quickly and then move on to the next things, the bigger stuff. Mm-hmm. So yeah, we always got to take care of what's most important to the client. We can't go in there with our agenda and preach to them about what they need to know. We need to figure out where they're at first, and then we help guide them to where they need to be.
That's so good. That's so important too. I mean, and you're really describing that Elite is not a cookie cutter program, because when I hear you say that, that is something that we know. A cookie cutter program is not going to work for everybody because everyone is obviously built different. So you're able to customize there's some
framework that we know is consistent.
Yep.
That we know can go and help to get things to work. But for me to come in and tell you that, you have an employee problem when that's not your issue at all, your issue is something else. I mean, I can't go in there and tell you to, hey, just follow this cookie cutter platform. It doesn't work that way. No way. Right. Especially shop owners, the way that they're wired, because most of them are technicians and they come from this background of I can fix it myself. And so to go in and have to work with them and help them to get to where they want to be and where they need to be. Yeah. Got to work together on it. So
excellent. So you alluded to the fact that there is a follow-up training to the in-person training. I'm a massive fan and believer in follow-up training. And here is why. It's because 70% of the information you get at a training will be forgotten in 24 hours. And 90% will be forgotten in just a week. So when you hear the fortune is in the follow-up, that's true. The fortune is truly in the follow-up. You have to have follow-up training and coaching past the in-person training. What does that look like with Elite?
Oh goodness, it depends on what you're talking about. Because I mean, with advisor training, it's a 6-month program that we do for Top Shop. They go to events and then they come back and their coach will work with them through. Where they go to Fly with the Eagles and they learn about these new things. They go home and talk to their coach about it and the coach will help implement it. Same thing with our peer groups. They may go to their mastermind meetings and talk about different things and then they go home and they meet with their coach and help them to implement. So,
but regardless, there's follow-up beyond any program you have to offer.
Of course. Oh yeah.
Excellent. Okay. Yeah. I love, you're looking at me like,
take that back. I mean, if it's a live event and, we do a lot of those and I speak a lot of places. And so, we always send out follow-up emails, but it's up to them to either contact us and go with what we can do next. But I don't continue to pester them or bother them. And we get them on the email list if they want to be, and then we can keep them, apprised of what we're doing. But it's, yeah. So.
No, that makes sense. It does make sense.
Yeah.
Well, I'll ask you. So one of the questions I love to ask on this podcast is, what is the best advice you've ever received from a coach or a mentor? I'm going to ask that you answer that question. And given the fact that you are the CEO of a coaching company, I'm also going to ask a different question for you. And that is, can you provide what you might consider to be the best advice you can give to someone listening to this episode?
Okay. So the first advice, I think setting a I was counseled to set aside time to think by a coach because I was so busy running my shop that I loved answering the phones because I knew I could convert them. I loved helping customers because I knew I was going to take care of them. And I was constantly doing that and got to the point where, you don't have any time to really dream about the future. And so one of my coaches told me that I really needed to set aside time to think. And that was a life-changing thing for me. And to this day, I still set aside time that's just for me to think and think about the long-term stuff because I love still putting out fires. We all love the dopamine hit when we solve an issue, right? Mm-hmm. But I think that was probably the most valuable coaching advice that was given to me. I mean, goodness, I've been in personal coaching. I'm a CHPC, which is a certified high-performance coach, and I have been for many, many years. And so, I mean, you want to talk about personal development? I got different advice there, but I think even for personal advice or personal coaching, I think that thing of still setting aside time to reflect.
What does that look like? Are you limiting your distractions? I would assume you're putting your phone away. I mean, you're finding a place with solitude. I mean, what does that look like for you?
At the shop, it was really funny because I still have the sticky note. It's a yellow sticky note that says "Do not disturb." And when I was in the shop, my wife Ginger and my coach at the time said, "Hey, you know what, Ginger, you need to lock him in his office, get his phone and his computer out of there, and he has to sit in there by himself for an hour, and he can't answer phones, can't do anything for an hour." And so they did that, literally locked me in my office with nothing except a notebook and a paper. And to this day, I still write in my notebook all the time. But I learned the power of sitting there and really, okay, I've got an hour. What am I going to do to make the most of this? And every time that phone rang or I'd hear the door thing bing, and it was like painful because I knew if I was out there, I could be making money. I could be making a difference. Mm-hmm. But then to sit in there, and I forced myself to maximize that time and really think about what I could do to make the most of my time there. So then it started leaning towards all these different things of ways to improve the shop and things. So, I mean, that was amazing. And that little yellow sticky note that says "Do not disturb," literally, I still have it. And that was years ago. Back in 2017 is when I started doing that. And, I think it's hugely important, and everybody can do it differently. Nowadays, we have a cabin, and I go up there and I spend a day up there, and I work for the first half of the day, and then in the afternoon, it's my time to really work on presentations, work on the stuff that I really enjoy doing, the stuff that's rewarding to me, and just dream about the future and what do I want to accomplish, and not have a structure of I got meetings, because goodness gracious, my days are filled with meetings, back-to-back meetings all day long, But when I get up there and I do that, it's wonderful because it's just a chance to reconnect with myself and God and what I need to do for the future. So
you're describing the concept of slowing down to speed up. Like we got to slow down a little bit to speed up. And I love the fact that you have your pen and pad in your office and now at your cabin where, something I think is widely overlooked is the power and the impact of journaling and how ultimately we have up to 60,000 thoughts per day. And studies show that 80% of our thoughts are negative and 90% of our thoughts are repetitive. And we're trying to figure things out on the fly, just in our head.
Yes.
And so when we can start adopting this concept of journaling and the clarity and direction that we can receive just through putting our computers away, putting our phones away, all of our devices away, and putting pen to paper, it's really incredible what kind of impact it has on our lives.
It is. There's so much noise, and we got to silence that noise down to really receive that revelation, that guidance, So yeah. So excellent. If I was now back to that question though of what advice I would give, that's a good question because everybody's so different. But I think that just keep pushing, keep getting better. Keep thinking about what it is that you want to do with your life and then figure out how to get there. When you do it, there's a wonderful book called Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. And it's one of my favorite books. And it's all about definite purpose and figuring out what you want to do and then going after that. And then, the universe or God help to provide you the next steps. And I know that's true. And so, I mean, figure out what your definite purpose is and work on it. Come up with some goals and then figure out what your next step is going to be.
Love that. Yeah. Purpose trumps motivation. So we're gonna have those days we're not motivated, but purpose is gonna trump that every day of the week.
It does, because purpose keeps us driving and keeps us going. Yeah. When you got a reason to get up in the morning and keep kicking butt, it's a good thing to do. So
love that. That. Awesome. Well, Darrin, before we sign off, I am going to ask, how can our audience get in touch with you or the folks from Elite? What services or what programs do you guys have coming up? I'm going to put you on the spot, but if you know of what you have coming up, I'd love to share that with the audience as well.
We have Fly with the Eagles coming up. It's sold out though. The first time it's ever been sold out. We have over
Well,
60 registrants. And so, yeah, it's a wonderful thing. It's so awesome. It's really exciting. So yeah, Fly with Eagles is sold out at the end of June. And then other than that, we've got Masters coming up. We've got Fly with Eagles again. We've got other trainings coming up at ASTA the end of, in September. So, I mean, we got lots of things coming up. A big thing is though, Ignite. That's coming up in January. I know it's 6 months away, but we've been working really hard on developing some good content. So if you are wanting to come and learn about how to take your personal life and your shop to the next level, please keep an eye out for emails about Ignite. Get on our mailing list and we can get you the information on that. We're really excited. We're going to be talking to specialists come in and train us about personality assessments and how to make sure you're working in your strengths. Bunch of good stuff. Oh my goodness, I'm so excited. This year was the first time that we did this event, and it was awesome, sold out, and such great reviews. We're doing another one next year, and so really excited for it. Anyway, that's in January of next year, but yeah. So sorry, Josh, I didn't.
No apologies necessary. I mean, I want everyone to know about it. So get out to Ignite in January 2026. Go to eliteworldwide.com. You can find out more about all the programs, all the service offerings, as well as Ignite, and you'll get to see Mr. Darrin Barney there as well.
Yeah. And if you want more information, just reach out to us. You'll see the information on our website. Reach out. One of us will get in touch with you. You can talk to any one of the superstars we got working with us, and we can help you out. Or you want to talk to me, feel free to reach out to me. I got time to talk with you too. So
awesome. And I will confirm and echo the fact that you do have a bunch of superstars, including yourself, working at Elite. I've had the pleasure of getting to know a handful of you folks here lately, and looking forward to continuing to cultivate and grow our relationship. Darrin, man, thank you so much for being here. It was truly a pleasure having you.
Thank you, Josh. I appreciate it.
And thank you for tuning in. As you know, every episode we look to transform our leadership skills by tapping into unrecognized potential to achieve limitless results. So thanks again for being here. Don't forget to smile today. Tell your loved ones how much they mean to you. I'm Josh Parnell, reminding you to keep leading well.